And the first major news story of the month is a pretty darn big one. TNA officially announced the debut of their first television show, which will debut on Fox Sports Net on Friday, June 4th at 3 p.m. It is the debut of TNA Impact.
Wow, future 5-time winner of worst television show.
You know what? 5 is actually pretty low. It's fine. It is funny to see because Mike Tenay introduced the second show of the month with their groundbreaking, earth-shattering announcement, which was the FSN deal. They will be debuting on FSN in June, and it is interesting. That show's still on the air today after 18 years and 900 episodes. So it's you know what? It is a groundbreaking, earth-shattering announcement. Well done, TNA.
Yeah, with I'm sure at the time people were like ha 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 because everything TNA does gets a ha 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 ha. But knowing where we are now, one of the longest running wrestling television shows ever, so
it has worked out in at least some way. And look, realistically, this is a time buy. With an estimated cost of about $15,000 per episode, and it's a 52 episode deal.
Oh, if it was a fucking movie, they could run this for years.
And then out on both sides after 26, halfway through. And the whole idea here is that it's to get on TV, build an audience, get decent ratings, and try and get something better than buying time on FSN. Whether that's FSN paying them to do the show, or whether that's finding something on another television network. And we know, that gamble paid off. It ultimately resulted in a Spike TV deal. So all the losers and haters, when this deal was announced and they were this company is still kind of doomed, this is the last gasp play that probably won't work, you were wrong. It did work.
I mean, it's not a bad idea. I don't know. I mean, listen, would we all prefer that our wrestling television show gets picked up from Warner for millions of dollars and then immediately gets a bump in it 6 months in? Yes, that's the ideal scenario. But when you have nothing else, you might as well go for this play. You're already going to lose the money, it's fine. You bankruptcy and then get out of paying it, you're fine.
Yeah, and it's also, it's Panda's money, who cares? So
yeah. This is a great idea. It's a great gamble. And I get it.
And when you look at where the company is now, where the company is in May 2004, what else can they do? The weekly pay-per-views aren't cutting it. Everybody knows that. They have to continue producing them or else the company goes under. It doesn't exist. But it's not like there's suddenly going to be an audience of millions of people who are going to start buying these pay-per-views. That's not the path forward for this company. So they have to start looking about, what can be? Obviously television, paid television ideally, but they can't get paid television. They couldn't get it in 2002. They still can't get it now. How can they increase their chances of getting paid television? By having a proven television product. So that's their gamble. That's their step. That's their pay at an estimated $15,000 per episode to get on TV.
They got to build their reel.
And it's a similar case to, the only real option they had at the start was weekly pay-per-views when you really drill down into it. It's a similar case here. It's their only reasonable step forward is this paid TV deal. Whether it was with WGN or FSN or whoever, to find somebody to put you on the air for a year so you can basically have a proof of concept.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do. I'm into it. I'm into this idea. I'm looking forward to TV. I'm looking forward to the pay-per-views stopping.
That's not for another few months, but sure.
We'll get there. There's a light at the end of the tunnel.
The time slot isn't TNA's first choice, but the prestige of being affiliated with FSN can open doors in the future. If ratings are strong enough and the product is considered up to standards, TNA could shift into a better time slot. Jarrett was scheduled to appear on FSN's Best Damn Sports Show, period. Their marquee show, basically. That's not just sports.
This show keeps getting brought up in the TNA ethos.
Mm-hmm.
I feel in the 2 and a bit years now that we've covered, the Best Damn Sports Show, period, keeps getting mentioned.
Well, you will eventually have a full crossover with the Best Damn Sports Show, period.
Oh, the Best Damn Wrestling Show, period.
That's the name of the crossover.
Holy shit.
So Jarrett was on it to promote TNA. They showed footage of Johnny Fairplay. They showed footage of Brian Urlacher, footage of the Tennessee Titans beating up Jeff Jarrett. Host Tom Arnold said that's the best thing I've ever seen. So, it's some exposure.
Yeah. It's not a bad idea, again, heading into this TV stuff, so.
Dixie Carter's quote from the press release: "The national telecast of Impact on Fox Sports Net marks a milestone for TNA Entertainment and the wrestling industry." Oh, sorry. I'm stepping on your toes here. Would you like to take that, Liam?
The national delegation.
Dixie is deranged?
The national delegates on the impact of Fox Sports Net marks a milestone for TNA entertainment in the wrestling industry.
She's become a full mad gold prospector?
Yeehaw!
Dixie Carter, president of TNA Entertainment LLC, said,
Total non-stop action. Wrestling has continued to grow and exceed expectations over our history. As we celebrate our second anniversary in June, we are excited this opportunity with Fox Sports Net and Universal Studios Orlando will expose a wider range of viewers to our distinctive brand of professional wrestling. Follow me on Twitter.
A TNA press release explained how TNA is different from the competition. I'm always interested in this.
Is this me?
No, this is a George Greenberg of FSN quote. You're fine.
Can you do it in the style of the TNA pay-per-view video packages?
Oh, sorry. TNA Wrestling separates itself from the competitors by delivering quality family programming that focuses on athletic in-ring competition instead of over-the-top, shocking antics that have become all too common in mainstream.
He's not, that's all lies.
To be fair, TNA of the last, 3 months is that.
Oh, sorry, not the 3 months.
The TNA of we're trying to get on television, let's clean up our act, is a clean for a normal wrestling product. The TNA before that, maybe not so much. I am pleased about the entertainment value wrestling can bring to FSN. I believe Impact will bolster our Friday afternoon schedule and provide another FSN destination for young viewers. FSN reaches more than 80 million homes through its 20 regional sports networks. And Jarrett told Between the Ropes Radio that Impact will be innovative and have no limits.
Just like the X Division.
Yeah, it's not about television limits, it's about no limits, even though the show literally has time limits, so it is about limits. But outside of such ambiguous cliches, didn't specify the format of the show.
I mean, I think it'll be a wrestling show.
To be fair, they do start making some changes. As we mentioned, we'll talk about it more in the June episode, but they introduced all the Fox box up, the time limit stuff. We'll talk about that next month. But they are also introducing a six-sided ring.
I'm unfamiliar with a six-sided ring, Garrett. Could you tell me about it?
So you take a ring and you add two more sides.
Well, that's fucking nuts.
And then you have more angles to do springboards off of, and the rope tension is tighter, Mike Tenay would always tell us.
Oh. What if you made it a triangle or a star?
Oh, well, a star ring would be interesting.
Well, if Kota Ibushi gets his way.
I'm not sure how well a triangle ring would work. You'd have to make it quite big.
Yeah, that one seems less plausible. I think a star ring could be done. I just hope you never want to run the ropes.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't want to run the ropes. Maybe that's something Ibushi wants to cut out of professional wrestling.
TNA wrestlers who are scheduled to work the June 3 Orlando taping are concerned that they won't have enough time to work out in the six-sided ring before they work their matches. In most cases, the wrestlers have not worked in that type of ring before. They say that while it may not seem that much different to the untrained eye, it is going to be a bigger adjustment than people seem to realize. It's also worth noting that similar six-sided rings have also been blamed for injuries suffered by AAA and Japanese wrestlers, so the TNA guys have more to be concerned about whether they can have good matches in the new ring.
They probably should fly him out like a day early or something to see guys work out in the ring.
Or just bring the ring to Nashville.
Oh yeah, do they have a time period where they have a six-sided ring in Orlando and a four-sided ring in Nashville?
No, it seems like at one stage the idea was just to do the six-sided ring for TV, at least early. But from here, they introduced the six-sided ring in Nashville immediately after they do it in Orlando.
So is this the last month we have of the four-sided ring?
No, the last four-sided ring show will be the June 2nd show. So the debut of the six-sided ring is the June 4th Impact debut, and then the first weekly pay-per-view of June will still have the four-sided ring.
Garrett, would you care to have a brief production meeting on air?
Sure, go.
Should we do a watch-along for the first Impact?
Well, I was thinking, because we the other show we should do a watch-along for in June is probably the debut of King of the Mountain, which is the first show of the month.
Yeah, that was the first one I had in mind.
So we could basically just sit down and do them back-to-back. We could watch the June 2nd show and then watch the Impact debut, so it would be quite easy because they're sequential.
Sweet.
On-air production, so you'll get 2 watch-alongs coming up for the June episode. 2 whole watch-alongs of the first episode of Impact and the June 2nd weekly pay-per-view.
Yeah, I think the Impact one's fun. I think An important one too, and a show that I don't think I've ever seen.
The debut of Impact. It's a good episode.
You'd hope so.
TNA Wrestling will tape its weekly Impact program every Thursday at Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida, at the 22,000 square foot Soundstage 21.
I thought I was going to say 22,000 seat.
It's gigantic. It can hold about 1,200 at full capacity. The way TNA set it up, hold about 900.
America's Kodokan Hole.
In many ways, it is.
In that it is a small, loud venue.
That many companies have worked.
Yeah, well, as I like to call it, the Elite Zone.
I will strangle you.
It's not even the same one, is it? It's a different soundstage.
Yeah, I think they do 19.
Yeah.
Which is one TNA would eventually run because it's smaller.
Mm.
It will draw from theme park attendees. They will set up entrances both so that you can get in if you're a ticket holder, but also you can get in from the outside. A quote from Paul Mina from Universal Studios. "We are thrilled to have Total Nonstop Action's Impact here at Universal. It affords our theme park guests the opportunity to be part of the production audience and cheer for their favourite wrestling icons from a front row seat," quote. TNA will be keeping costs down by flying and paying only 10 TNA wrestlers for each taping each week. I don't think that holds. I think they're actually pretty generous in the end. So, yeah, 2 tapings a week now that they will do the live pay-per-view on Wednesday and then fly straight to Orlando to do TV on a Thursday.
I'm interested in seeing how the restrictions of only having 10 people would have worked out.
Because, like, the main event of the first episode is a 6-man match. So it's not a thing they even remotely try and stick to.
That's 60% right there.
And the opener is a 6-man tag, so they're already up to 12, and there's also another tag match, so it's up to 16. So that whole idea...
How many of them are locals?
I have no idea where they got that 10 people idea from PW Torch, but if it was an idea bandied around at any stage, it will not be stuck to. So they are buying time, with the unconfirmed figure being the price of $15,000 a week from the Wrestling Observer. They have control of most of, but not all of the ad time, so they can make some of that money back selling ads.
Yeah, I've thought of a fun thing.
Go on.
Isn't it funny that the first episode of Impact was main evented with a 6-man tag?
It was a 6-man match, but go on.
Fuck. Well, you've ruined everything for me. By your non-specificity.
It opened with a 6-man tag. Does that work? Does that still work?
No, I was going to say that the first episode of Global Force was main evented by a 6-man tag.
To be fair, you could actually tie it to because the opening match is kind of an international X Division match, so it is kind of the same thing as what main evented the first episode of Global Force.
Doesn't count.
Speaking of Global Force leader Jeff Jarrett held a locker room meeting prior to the May 12th pay-per-view to announce the Fox Sports Net deal. Jarrett opened the meeting by thanking the wrestlers for their patience and hard work. He said he had not anticipated what a black eye professional wrestling had in the television industry, adding that he and other office workers had to battle long and hard to get the show on the air. Be like, oh, what a black eye wrestling has. Don't watch our old tapes. Don't watch them. Don't watch them.
Yeah. I mean, like, let's be real. Like, wrestling isn't exactly the most lucrative TV thing.
But it's their own fault, because they have, like, the lowest common denominator bullshit television that they constantly stoop to.
It was also an industry that at its hottest was based around the lowest common denominator, at pitch and presentation, so... Like, they always talk about how, like, wrestling has some of the lowest ad rates of any television product.
But, like, they perpetuate the stereotype and then give out about it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying he's right, but I'm just saying it is a fact that this is an element of the professional wrestling and broadcasting industry.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's wrong either. I'm saying it's his own fault.
Yeah, well, what are you expecting to go up there and be like, hey guys, really sorry we fucked around for the first 2 years, but we're here now?
Yes!
Well, he's not gonna do that.
Because of concerns from FSN executives, because they want a very clean, normal wrestling show, Jarrett reminded the wrestlers to refrain from swearing and or making any lewd gestures during their matches. Even Storm, he delivers one of the sorry about your damn lucks, he's like, you know what I say about luck. Sorry about your luck. It's like,
sorry about your darn luck.
Dude can't say his catchphrase.
Really, is damn too much?
I think he ultimately it's not, because he ends up saying his catchphrase, but yeah, it's weird. He also told the crew that the company had hired a new seamstress to help them improve their looks for television. Jarrett added that the company is still in the process of making travel arrangements to get the talent from Nashville to Orlando for the Thursday tapings. There's some concern that they might not be able to make their flights because of their hard night of partying in Nashville.
Maybe they shouldn't party.
They should go do their jobs. They can party on Thursdays after Impact now instead of on Wednesdays after the pay-per-view.
Wrestling is the only industry, man, where you go to your boss and go, "Hey, it's gonna be a problem like getting to work the next day because we're gonna party too hard."
Mm-hmm.
And then like that be an actual consideration of the employment being like, "Yeah, you're right, guys. We'll try and think of something."
We don't want to ruin your vibes and good time.
It's like, just wait till the tapings are done and then go party in fucking Orlando.
Which is probably a better party scene. No, Nashville's a pretty
Yeah, I
good
was gonna say,
party
I'm sure
city,
the
but
Orlando
still.
scene kicks the Nashville scene's ass.
Some Nashville people are going to come for you for that.
Whatever. Don't you talk nothing bad.
Oh, she seems more cogent than she did earlier.
Don't you
So there's some talk about how they're going to get wrestlers down. There's talk that they might bust them, which wrestlers are very much against, I think, for good reason. There's talk that they might also charter flights to fly them down to make sure they can get down on Wednesday night instead of Thursday morning.
This is cool. This feels, I don't know, something about it makes it feel very like Major League presentation, you know what I mean? Just the whole background stuff.
Just that they're on TV. It's like, oh, we have to talk about logistics about going from one taping to the other.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, it feels like anything that's sort of like, some show on the road where it's like, oh, we have to get the group of people to the next thing, and blah, blah, blah. It adds a certain, it doesn't feel like you're Nashville indie, you know what I mean?
It's basically like the start of chapter 2 of the company. It's like you had the first chapter, which is the weekly pay-per-views. Now you have the TV era, which I think this, like, chapter 2 probably basically runs up to Kurt's debut. And then you have a bunch of other chapters from there. But it does feel like, we're turning a page. It's a new TNA in a new television era.
It's the new face of professional wrestling.
The new Fox Sports Net deal has changed the mood in the locker room. While everyone seems happy the company is taking the step, some of the younger wrestlers are said to be nervous about working in front of a national audience. Although the pay-per-views are technically national, the wrestlers know they will be seen by some more viewers on Fox Sports Net. Some of these wrestlers are said to be concerned that their popularity in Nashville may not carry over to Orlando or the rest of the country. To which I would say, that Nashville crowd is dead silent half the time, so I think you'll be fine.
Yeah. But then you got over there too, so it's fine.
Yeah, if you're good, you'll get over.
The age-old adage.
Meanwhile, some of the veterans who have worked WWE, WCW, or ECW in the past are excited to be getting back in the mix. There are also some wrestlers who are concerned that they will be lost in the shuffle, especially if TNA brings in some bigger names that have been rumored, such as Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, Scott Hall, DDP, Kevin Nash, and The Ultimate Warrior.
Cool.
Which does kind of end up happening. So
I don't want any of those people brought in, except Kevin Nash.
I'd take Hall too, but if he wasn't like a mess. Also, I like DDP.
Yeah, I don't know. I like DDP, but I just focus on your own guys. Come on.
All of those people will come in other than Warrior at some stage or another.
Yeah, we were so universally positive about the Hulk Hogan run.
The word backstage is that TNA plans to hit the reset button when they launch the FSN show on June 4th. Meanwhile, other insiders say that while the company will certainly attempt to spice things up, they will not completely abandon past storylines.
Okay.
So a little category A, little category B.
A soft reset, as we say in the biz.
They're third or fourth in the company history already. To be fair, they haven't done any hard resets yet.
But they will.
Oh, and a fun note. On the May 19th show, there was never a mention of the Fox Sports Net deal for the most hilarious of reasons. They mentioned the new TV show and just said coming to a regional sports network in your area on June 4th and to check your local listings for the time. Because In Demand and DirecTV consider each other competition, In Demand, which is the prime force behind TNA being on, asked them not to mention Fox Sports Net because of the feeling Fox will buy DirecTV. So there's some fun politics that is stopping them from plugging their wrestling show.
The old Fox USA thing that we're seeing now.
Oh yeah, when WWE was moving from Spike to USA.
Oh, we're seeing it now with current day Fox and USA Network, where they get pissy at each other for hyping up Raw or SmackDown on the other show, and wanting stars on one and the other.
Yeah, there's a fun story when WWE was moving from what was Spike at the time to USA in the mid-2000s. They desperately tried to sneak in mentions that they were leaving Spike.
Yeah, didn't they do the same thing when like Spike was like, they would mention Impact or run Impact ads or something like that at the same time?
No, because Impact wouldn't have been launched until October.
I thought there was like some sort of subtle thing about that. Or maybe that was just like the idea was to get that as the cheaper replacement. Something along those lines.
Because Impact ended up filling the Velocity slot on Spike
Ooh.
in the end, before moving into better time slots.
That's our next Versus show.
Impact versus Velocity.
Yeah.
So yeah, Impact debuting June 4th. I will say, as we're already late in this episode, but I will ask for patience for our upcoming couple of months, because it's going to be a pretty rough time where we have... June is a 5 pay-per-view month as well, by the way. So June will be 5 pay-per-views and 5 episodes of Impact, maybe 4. I haven't checked that. So the next few months, the June, July, August, and September episodes of the podcast, we'll try to get them out every 2 weeks, but it's a lot of stuff to watch. So we'll do our best, and I will try to wrangle Liam, but it's a lot of stuff to watch.
Garrett, this is Garrett's polite way of saying there will be times where I adamantly refuse to watch the things that I'm being told to watch. Also, just great timing here. I love to be going back to university in next week.
It's only for 4 months, and September is only half a month.
Listen, I'm just gonna have to, I don't know, find a way to implant them into my brain while I'm sleeping.
You should get those Facebook glasses and then just stream them to your eyes while you're walking or driving places.
There you go. I'll start watching them in class.
Yeah, you should. You just put them on like the projector. Everyone can sit down and watch some episodes of Impact.
I have a 3-hour like film study class. I'll just bring in episodes of Impact.
Study the NWA-TNA.
So yeah, it's a lot. But once we're out, we're in the green from now on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we should have no excuse for being late once we get out of the weekly pay-per-view era, because it's 1 hour episodes of Impact and then a pay-per-view.
That's what we've been fighting for this whole time. That's what you've been listening for this whole time. This has all been the preamble to the actual thing we want to cover.
Yeah, this is the chapter 1 of our podcast. We're also moving into chapter 2.
Well, we'll change it. We'll call it something else. Wait, oh my god, when TNA does the name changes, can we change the name of the podcast?
To what?
I don't know, we'll find something.
We'll add NWA to our name as TNA take NWA off of theirs.
That doesn't make any sense.